and welcome to Energy Toning with Liz. And today I'll be sharing with you a chat I had with a lovely lady by the name of Maria, who is a fellow Pangu Shengong practitioner, as well as a medical intuitive and NES practitioner. And in the video, she shares her healing experiences with Pangu Shengong and helping others with her energy-based modalities. First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me. I really appreciate it. And I've been really enjoying talking to people about their experiences with Pangu and how they came to it, and what's happened since. So how did you come across? Oh, and by the way, if it looks like I'm not looking at you, it's because my camera is on top of my computer. So if I stare at it, it feels really unnatural, and that I'm not actually looking at you. So that's why it might look like I'm off to the distance, but I'm actually looking at you on the screen. So I hope that doesn't put you off.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So you asked.
How did you come to Pangu?
Okay, so 7 years ago, I was interested in joining another company called neshealth. It's a bioenergetic sort of therapy, natural, no herbs, no chemicals, and so forth. And I became a neshealth practitioner 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. And while we were getting all the training online, the company hired a gentleman by the name of Keith Coley. Mm-hmm. And I loved his energy, the classes that he was giving, and so forth. And he would mention now and then during the classes something about energy and so forth. And so I became interested. I was introduced to Pangu Shengong through Keith.
Mm-hmm, me
too. Yeah. Yes. So I became interested, and I, like everything, you want to try it on yourself and see how it feels. And I am a true advocate of finding different modalities for healing that does not involve modern medicine. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got a treatment from him, and I loved it. And then he said, well, you can also call Master O and get a treatment with him and so forth. And I did. I experienced both. Finally, I decided to take a class, the moving form class with him. Mm-hmm. And, a year or two I was practicing, and then I took the other class with him because he's an instructor for both moving and non-moving form. Mm-hmm. And I took the moving and the non-moving form. And then, the starting of COVID, I had plenty of time to study. And so I became more and more interested in what he promised, right? The Pangu, how he restructures and so forth. And I fully dedicated in 2019 to become a certified instructor. Mm-hmm. For the moving. Mm-hmm. Now, I know I am a certified instructor for the Pangu Shengong moving form, but mainly I did it to treat people, mm-hmm. to people that were going through the COVID ailments and so forth. And just before getting my certification in the moving form and the healing form and so forth, a friend of mine was admitted in the hospital. And she was admitted in Houston, in one of the hospitals in Houston, Texas. And she was apparently, to what the doctors were saying, that she wasn't going to make it because she was already hooked to the machines. So but she was I don't know what happened, but she became conscious. And it so happened she answered my text, and I got all panicky. And I said, well, would you be willing to write these words on a notebook and just say them again and again and again? Well, I was giving my energy towards the lungs. And, you know, as I was doing my practice in my business, she said, Maria, I don't know what you did, but my doctors are so impressed. Within a day or two of the treatment, she was released, and the doctor asked her, what did you do? Because she had
Wow.
the written down on a notebook, and that did it. I said, well, I mean, I practice it on me, but it's not the same when you do on others, right? I will treat my dogs or my cats, circumstances or situations in which you feel kind of stuck, or you need help. And I practice and practice on other people, and I've seen very good results. I can tell you on and on and on. My
I would
dog,
love to hear more. That's a
yes,
fantastic result with
yeah,
your
with
friend.
my friend, yes, she was recuperated. She was she would cry, obviously, you know, like as she was getting better and better. And within the 3 days, she was removed from the oxygen tank, and within a week she was sent home. Of course, she said, I don't know, I know I cannot go back to the hospital, but I keep repeating the words that take kindness and benevolence, and that has been my walking mantra for her.
Wow.
And she got fully recovered. And then at another instance, something that happened to me, I'm kind of like like you know, when somebody tries to poke you, I get angry and I will go. I've noticed that Pangu has really kept me very mellow, very subtle. My energy feels subtle. I've seen that I don't get mad. I say, well, what's wrong with me? I want to be able to react, but it's like I'm walking with this sensation, like I'm walking on clouds, and everything just goes through like nothing bothers me.
Mhm.
And I know that has to do with the Pangu Shengong practice.
Mm. I can
Yeah,
totally relate to that feeling.
yeah,
Just the level of patience, and for me it was like when I learned it, so I learned it through Keith as well, and it was like I had all this energy outside of myself, and I was able to pull it back so I could use it for myself rather than being dragged here and then dragged there, and distracted by world events, and you know, like I just became more contained within.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yes, more calmer. My dreams are a lot clearer, and I've been a spiritual or energy healer for more than 25 years already. But not knowing anything about Pangu, or I think that this came at the right time because I needed structure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I needed to cultivate my energy because Keith would explain that you give so much, and then how do you get back on track? And so I honestly have felt a big difference in the way that whenever I'm doing a work on somebody, the images come a lot clearer. The messages that I receive, they're more to the T. Um, and my intuitive, or my sense of knowingness, I know it's not me, it is what is being transmitted to me, is more accurate than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's like maybe I have a better perception. My antenna is clear. I'm being more receptive to the messages from above, and I have seen a big difference
Mm-hmm.
in me. And of course, up and down, you know, you are sometimes confronted with whatever ailment, and you practice it on you, and it does work.
Mm.
Uh,
So what's
yes.
your main background? Are you Reiki, intuitive
No.
readings, or what do you do?
It's more like a medical intuitive
Uh-huh.
or medical energy reader.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, NES, I'm going to talk a little bit about NES just because I was asking to have something that would help me be more assertive, so people will know, hey, I think it's the heart or the kidneys and so forth. So that was that was a blessing. NES is a blessing. But Pangu is like, I feel more stronger personally because NES is not in me. It's a machine that does this and that, and I love it, and it's a blessing, and I feel very grateful for it. But before NES, it was just my hands. It was just me scanning the person visually and picking up whatever was there.
Mm-hmm.
And so now Pangu is like, it's more like Keith refers to it like this life force. Yes, indeed. It is a better force, the life force that is out there, that it's feeding you or sustaining you while you in your practice. And most of my pro bono I've done a lot of pro bono with Pangu healing techniques because of the COVID issue. And because people really were financially struggling. And I'm a believer of, I gotta practice it on me so that I can practice it on other people first. So it's been like 2-3 years already that I've been doing this, and it does work. And the amazing thing is that when you are working with Pangu, it's like the distance doesn't matter. You feel the person's energy, the organs, the mind, everything, the vibration. And that I'm gonna say that it's a blessing because I do apply the Pangu healing skills.
So you're kind of using everything combined. So the intuitive skills that you had before NES, and then now NES, but also Pangu. So
yes,
packaging all up, and you just feel what's with Pangu, what has been the main shift in the way you approach clients?
The more it has given me more confidence, you can say. It's like they come all ruffled feathers and they don't know what's wrong with them, and then they come in. I guess, of course, I do practice Pangu on a daily basis. I try to do it on a daily basis. And when they come, they feel this energy, which is from above, and they just are more relaxed, and I'm able to read them better. It has empowered me. I'm going to say that I feel more empowered. Like, I know, well, this information is a lot clearer. I'm not doubting or thinking, oh, would it be this or would it be that? No.
It's more of a knowing.
It's more of a knowing that divine intelligence or the... well, I've been doing the Pangu along with the advanced, the non-moving and the advanced. I have experienced things that I cannot explain. I don't know if it has happened to you or the rest of the people that practice. But when I'm outside and then I'm doing the moving and then the advanced, I have felt that I've been encapsulated in this dome where there's no noise. The quietness is like you can actually hear a pin drop, and I'm outside where there's trees and dogs and cats and there's noise. And at the beginning I will get scared and I will just stop and come inside. But then little by little I started to say, okay, just like everything, you're not used to that. I would see and experience many things. Yeah, that for once is that is more like, okay, what is this stillness?
So would you explain it as supernatural experiences, like more supernatural experiences?
It supernatural, I don't think it's supernatural. It's more like you being in connection with the force that you are practicing or bringing in. Because supernatural for me would be like, oh, I see a ghost or I see a spirit or things move. But this is more on the purest form of energy that you are receiving or you're being in. Does
Wow.
it make sense? Have
Yeah.
you
Not to that level, but definitely,
well,
I mean, I feel amazing things that I haven't felt before in any other energy practice that I've done.
yeah,
And I'm like you,
yeah,
I'm a NES practitioner as well. And that's how I came across Keith as well. So we've got something in common there.
that
But I mean, at the moment, I'm just seeing a lot of purple lights into shapes and just morphing, like nature shapes just coming into my mind, and that's new. I've never experienced that before. Often when I would meditate, I would often see a purple light, through the
yeah,
third eye, but it didn't
yeah,
do anything or go anywhere. But more recently, that's morphing into more tangible things. And it's usually linked to some form of nature. Also,
right,
just seeing explosions sometimes of just bright white light, like
right,
and it kind of is like that, going into the void where everything
right.
kind of stops. So so maybe that's kind of similar to what you're explaining, but I mean, everyone has
Yeah.
their own stories, don't
Oh,
they? Their own experience. And
yes. I am very much familiar with the purple light because the 20 some years I can relate to that purple light because for me it's like a healing. And white bright light is when you are connected with, the seventh chakra and the energy is flowing and so forth. But to me, it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm more evolving more into more serious stuff like that when you feel that energy and you feel lifted at times, from your feet. So that to me has been a blessing. And I'm the only one Pangu Shengong instructor here in the valley. And mention it to people, but they're not ready for it yet. But they will, and I'm, just really, they just look at me like, what's wrong with her, or what is it that attracts me to her? But it's a combination of many things, and when you are practicing the spiritual healing, there is no handbook that comes to. I mean, I wasn't given a handbook. It mainly was the calling or helping others. Like I've helped the lady in the hospital with other sorts of modalities. And there was no NES, there was no Pangu, yet with Pangu, I feel more structured. It's like, okay, like more divinely guided because it's a combination of energy, spiritual, and it is an amazing thing when you combine. Not that you are asking, it just comes through as a whole package.
How do you
Yes,
place so you've read the Path of Life books?
I read very little of them, Liz, because I know that is one of the requirements, but I don't find. I always say I'm gonna dedicate this weekend. I have so many things going on all the time. I'm a busy woman, and not just to say that I have a lot of work, but I have a lot of things going on at home. But I read little bits and little bits, and the first book, it didn't make any sense. I can tell you that much. And they were first relating that when you close your eyes and you see visions of things that are out of this world, where you see the buildings, and I saw all of that. I've seen all of that with the practice. And it's like more like, okay, I'll get to it whenever it's the right time. I know I'll have the right time to do it. I just glanced through it, and then of course I'm dyslexic. Where you start from the back, and then you bring it over, and that's me. Like, okay, I read some part here, but then I move over there, and of course, I like my books to have a large print. This is too small enough for me. I say, okay, I try to read it, but I haven't done it from front to the back or finish it.
I mean, a lot of people say it's a hard read, and I also wonder, from a Western perspective, is it hard for Westerners to connect with it because it's Chinese mythology, and therefore, like, where do us Westerners place that kind of mythology with our own mythologies? And so I do wonder, because I'm reading it. I'm reading again I've read it all, and I'm reading them again now because I am actually trying to understand them better, and also question them as well. I'm reading the Future World to my daughter at the moment, and I thought she would be bored, but she seems to want to read it with me every night. So even though she's not fully understanding, there's something that she's connecting to. But yeah, because they say, it's important to read the books. Read the books, it will enhance your practice and everything.
Right.
But so I'm always interested in other people's perspective of the Pangu mythology and how that connects to them. I mean, is that something that you've thought much about, like the cultural implications?
No, none whatsoever. Actually, when I started reading it and that he was talking about the future and the buildings and how he perceived in years to come, I felt like, have I read this before? Probably somewhere along the line. Have I seen this before? Yes, more than likely. It didn't make any sense back 20 some years ago or 15 years ago. And I was like, it's in a book. So it's in a book. And do I like it? Well, I'm sure I'm going to love it. I'm going to be, I like reading Harry Potter's book. So to the imagination and visualize the future, what it is to come. And yes, it's sort of like magic. I'm in there. I'm already in that sequence, but no, honestly, I have not read it. Does it matter for me to have finished it right now? No.
It sounds like you're already really experiencing that, like, you don't need any further justification as to whether this is really true or not. You're living it, which I guess is kind of the ideal. Whereas I might be still in the mental perspective of, okay, well, does this make sense kind of thing, even though I am physically experiencing things. But I've got that other analytical side to me as well.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being analytical, and I'm just glad that there's something in a book that I can relate to. But
that you've already seen.
Yes. It's just an affirmation of what is out there and how you can envision things, because some the messages come too strong and you wonder, like, is it real? But somebody else has seen it. So that's like enough something that is happening there.
Fascinating. What's your experience? So you've helped someone else with COVID. What about your experience with COVID? Have you had COVID? What did you do about it? If so, like, or have you managed to avoid it?
No, I haven't gotten the
nor me.
No. Personally, I can tell you that whenever I don't feel well, I did get COVID. Okay, I did get the COVID, but if the symptoms were minimal. No, nothing of the phlegms and cough. No, nothing like that. But it was more like my symptoms were more like a lethargic, emotional. And it lasted for a little bit and then it went away. But I mean, other stuff, I've had Keith work on me with the practice that he does, because COVID affected my taste buds. And I got in trouble eating a hot sauce that I could barely. I'm not into hot sauce, nothing hot. But it disrupted my digestive system, and I asked him to work on me, and he did. And it did help. And at my daughters, my daughters, they say, Mom, can you help me with whatever you do?
Mm-hmm.
And my dogs, like, I'm gonna tell you, I have a 10-year-old dog. She had surgery last year. It's been a year, and I was practicing with her to try to help her, and but she needed to have an emergency surgery. We left her at the vet, and she had her surgery, and the vet would call me and say, well, Raven doesn't want to eat. I said, don't worry about it, I'll work with her. So I would talk to her, and from afar, from a distance, of course. And within a day she started eating, and 2 days I went to pick her up. But and I didn't give her any of the medication. I was mainly doing the Pangu on her, and I know that I used part of the NES drops as well, just to make sure everything is okay. It's energy, Pangu is energy, and NES is energy. So whatever, when you love somebody, you kind of block yourself. You get under stress, and maybe, I use the scan on my animals because NES doesn't care. They don't have any emotions. They can see and scan them. And I'm over here like, what is it? I'm a mom. So I get concerned whenever it gets. But have I used Pangu on me? Yes. Definitely. Yes. Whenever I'm under a lot of stress, or that I have felt something in me, well, stress is the main source of all our emotional and physical ailments. And for the past 2-3 years, I can say that I feel more relaxed and more healthier. And people around me have been very ill. And yes, I might have a sniffle here and there, but nothing major. I do continue to practice the Pangu. And of course, I'm not as do it in the morning, in the middle of the day, and then at night. I do it in the morning and sometimes at night, depending on how much work I've done. I do my repetitions in the morning because that works for me. And at night, if I cannot sleep or something, then I might just get up and start walking, doing my techniques. But it has brought to me so much peace, and the knowingness that there's no reason to panic. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything works out fine. That has been my experience. I work with my dogs and my cats and friends. Where they say, I don't know what you did to me, but I feel good. And yeah, I said, I either. So I don't know either. Sit down, relax. Let me take care of you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes. And have any of your friends been interested in learning Pangu themselves?
They've seen me practice the Pangu, and they might be getting ready to start wanting to learn or take the class. But my people, the majority of them, they come with this mentality of, give me something so I can feel good.
Which is most of the world at the moment.
At the moment, yes. Yeah. And they love to come and see me, and they like to feel good and so forth. And I might do a treatment on them while they're going through whatever. And they like it, but they kind of like, I'm going to wait a little longer. Like, they don't know. They think that it's like some sort of a prayer. They think it's some sort of a prayer. And I said, no, this is something else. But again, if they're not ready, you cannot force them. They have to be interested in that. And if you show that you're doing good, then they'll ask you, what is it that you're doing? And I mentioned it to them. This is Pangu, and I'm certified this, but they're not ready yet. But they will.
Well, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to put this mini documentary together, because I wanted to show people in a cinematic way, I guess, what this is, and more importantly, what are people experiencing and the results that they're having just by doing it. So it's one thing to sort of tell people what it is, but that might not interest them because they think, oh, chi, energy, qigong, whatever.
Yeah.
But if they see the results and they can relate to wanting the same result, then that might, perk up more interest. If there was someone who was thinking about learning Pangu, what advice would you have for them?
I would say, try it. You're gonna love it, but you need to be persistent. And what I tell them, I tell them again and again, this is like, I can feed you the fish, as much fish as you want, but I would rather teach you how to get it. And this stays with you for life. Yeah. So that's what I tell them. This is for you to keep for life. This is the best gift ever. And you rather pay somebody else thousands of dollars and just for a little bit or get results. No. This is, in my services, or what I provide, I said, this is the least cost service that I can provide for you. And yet it is the most wonderful thing that you can keep for life. This has price whatsoever.
Yeah.
That this is a gift from above, thanks to Master O and Pangu and all the practitioners that are out there contributing to their knowledge and their practice and their good intentions. And when I'm going to add this, that whenever I do the take kindness, I take a deep breath and I meditate on the word kindness. Are you being kind? Really? Are you being kind? I said, no. Oh, yes, I need to work. So that those words really make an impact on the person that really wants a change. You cannot, again, I can feed you all the fish you want, but I would rather teach you how to sustain. So that's what I would tell them.
Beautiful. I can totally resonate with that. And yeah, I mean, it's better to be self-reliant in the end, isn't it? That's And then, and because if we're more self-reliant, then we can help others more anyway.
Yes.
So
yeah. And I don't know if you have taken kids' classes. I've taken a few with him, so that adds the work that we do. Honestly, that has helped tremendously. I'll give credit to him because he has been a pioneer in this, or being more open to it and not scared, and so be at peace.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if it wasn't for Keith, I definitely wouldn't be here talking with you now. So
I wouldn't be here sharing our information. Yes, or our exactly. Well, thank you.